Welcome, everyone. I think we are live now, and we've just opened up the meeting room. So we'll give everyone a few minutes here to settle in, and then we will start with the. It's actually the second hotel webinar that we're doing, and the first one for this year. So hopefully we'll be able to answer some of your questions and give you some more insights into how the Minut smart sensor detects cigarette smoke and helps hotels to increase revenue and reduce costs. But I will give you guys a few more seconds here. It's not really we're not really at the starting time yet, or actually there we are, but people are still dropping in. So to those who have just joined, welcome to the webinar, and it's great to see you here. My name is Buster. I'll do a proper introduction in just a little bit, and then we'll get right into it. So few more seconds here, and then I'll start. Okay, perfect. I think we will start there, since we're all probably pressed for time. So this will also be this webinar. We'll do probably a series of these webinars as we could get through the year. And if you signed up to this webinar but have to jump off or couldn't join, then there will be more opportunities in the future. And you can also, of course, get in touch with us directly, or get in touch with me directly, and I'll let you know how to do that as well. But okay, so let's start. So today we're going to talk about Minute cigarette detection and also some other capabilities of the Minute sensor. But the focus, of course, here is to increase revenue and to reduce the costs. And the way we do this, there are multiple ways. We can talk about the main ones today, but essentially winning chargebacks and confidently implementing fees for smoking, for example, is maybe one of the most obvious ones. But then there are also reducing costs in terms of damages, and also sort of the softer values, which are guest reviews and guest complaints that can also in the long term damage the reputation of the hotel, but also affect your income. So my name is Buster. I am responsible for the hotel side of at Minute, but we have a lot of other competent colleagues as well, of course, who you would probably talk to if you're depending on where you are in the world. This is a solution that we're rolling out, or Minute is a solution that works all over the world. So regardless if you're a hotel in Spain, in Europe, or if you're in the US, this is going to be applicable for you. So three main areas really when we're talking about revenue and reduced costs. And the first one is preventing cigarette smoke detection in the first place. So this is avoiding, of course, avoiding any damages and avoiding any costs associated with the cigarette smoke detection in this case. Predominantly damages and cleaning fees associated with them. And then the second one is winning chargebacks, and this one is often a tricky one for hotels because you got the credit card company that is not going to release the money for the fee, smoking fee, and without having significant proof for that. So Minute is capable of providing reports that you can use in these disputes and to win more chargebacks. And we see a great amount of results, good results in this area. And I will talk a little bit more about a specific hotel case that we have just done a case study with. I'll also give you the link to the case study in full. I think it's going to be published later this week. But it goes into a little bit about what we're doing with hotels and how you could also use Minute to make your business more streamlined and your staff and daily operations more efficient. So winning chargebacks is the second thing. Proof of smoking, basically hard proof, and so that you can confidently approach guests and implement fines. And then we have the secondary revenue loss, which is things like offline rooms when a cigarette smoke event happens. You have to take the room offline, you have to clean it, and this is different depending on the severity of the event, but it could be anything from a day to 2 days. And there could also be the instance where you have a guest that the second guest that comes after the next guest that if there's still a smell or there's something that they pick up on, you might have to you might end up in a situation where you have to appease them or give them an upgrade, and ultimately that will also cost you more because you could have either sold that room to someone else or had a more efficient distribution of your guests. So these are the three main things I think that would affect the bottom line most quickly. And if we look at some stats for this, we have that now the sound should be back. I don't know what happened there. I apologize for that. I think we're back. Yes, we're back. I apologize for that. I don't know what that was, but it's always great working for a technology company and then having technology um, coming and becoming an issue. But we should be back on track. So I was saying, well, I don't know what the last was what you heard, but you can read on the slide perfectly fine. The last thing was the average cost per incident is 1,100 US dollars. So this is typically what we can help you avoid. Minute is an industry-leading solution. We work with a lot of brand names in the hotel industry and the hospitality industry. We have a long history in the hospitality industry. We're trusted by Airbnb for the short-term rental side. We have a lot of the hotels that are rolling out now with Minute are really happy because one of the things that we focus on a lot and that is a core value of Minute is the privacy safe aspect of the sensor and the service. So Minute is 100% privacy safe for your guests and for your staff, so that it's really important to point out that we're not recording or identifying any personal data in anything we do. So this makes it. I mean, we've built this, we've designed this for the hospitality industry, so it's not a sensor that is repurposed or anything like that. So guest experience is always front and center for us. And then we've designed this device so that it is like minimum in terms of maintenance, minimum in terms of installation, and we've packed it full of different sensors so that we can get a lot of information out from it. And if you want to look at the full sensor list, you can go to our website, minute.com/features. You can look at everything there is. I won't cover all of it. I'll cover cigarette smoke and noise. but you'll find you can read more about the humidity, temperature, and things like that if that interests you as well. Cigarette smoke detection is the leading feature. I would say it will immediately detect cigarette smoke, and it will alert you about that. And the noise and occupancy monitoring will tell you if, yeah, there either is excessive noise in the hotel room, or if there is over occupancy, if there are too many people. And both those things could be indicators of a party or people or too many guests staying when there shouldn't be. The unique thing about Minute is that we're giving you all of this information from the same device. So that's the one sensor full insight thing. So you're not just buying a cigarette detection sensor, you're buying a full hospitality solution, smart monitoring for your hotel rooms. And then we've made it really easy to install as well. We've had years of development on making this sensor so as user friendly as we possibly can. So once you're in the hotel room, it just takes a couple of minutes, maybe 1 or 2 minutes to install it. It's done via a smartphone, and you connect it to the Wi-Fi network, and then you're up and running. I'll talk a little bit more about the installation in a little bit. And then lastly, motion detection is if you see the little darker spot on the sensor and the picture there with a pink background, that's the motion detection. And what you can do with that is you can know if there's a guest in the room or not. You can see if the housekeeping has been in the room or not, how long they've been there for. So it's a really nice way of telling, knowing if there's occupancy. And this is also like at a glance. You can go in and look at this on the mobile app and the web app. So the way this works is that the device sits in the ceiling, as you can see. For some reason, a lot of devices on the market, they are connected to an outlet, or they sit on the wall close to the floor, which doesn't make sense at all, because as everyone knows, smoke will rise. And that's why we've designed the device so it sits in the ceiling, and that's also where the motion detection works best. But the smoke will rise, it will reach the sensor, and the sensor will detect it and immediately send an alert to the front desk or the security staff or whoever you've chosen to receive these alerts. And then you can respond to this event if it's going to the room physically, or if it's calling the guest, or if it's just trying to go there and confirm if there are any if there is any suspicious activity. And that's where we leave quite a lot of well, it's quite a lot up to you, depending on how you want to interact with your guest. We have best practices, we have recommendations on how to do this, and depending on the type of alert and with the type, the time of day and things like that, you might want to respond to it. You might respond to it in different ways, but we're happy to work with you to one, set up where the alerts go to. So what hierarchy, like should they go directly to the front desk, and should they then be rerouted to someone else who actually goes to the room, or should go to management, for example. So we can choose exactly where those notifications go, and then also what the response is, and help train your staff as well. That's a big part of it, so that everyone knows what to do when they receive an alert from Minute. If there are questions, just write them in the chat, and I will answer them. I'll answer them at the end. So please put them in the chat, and I'll go through them then and answer them when we get towards the end. So great that you do that. I see there's a few questions that have come in here. And then in terms of installation, I mentioned before, it was really easy to install. You don't need any training to install it at all. It's self-explanatory. There's a few steps in the app, so that you follow those, and it takes you through the installation, and then it's up and running. It works both wired in and wireless. So there's a built-in battery, and it lasts up to 12 months. But if you do want to run it plugged in, you can do so, and the installation will then take a little bit longer because you have to plug it in. You have to have power that is close in the ceiling or wherever you are installing the device. And but once you do that, you don't have to worry about the recharging the batteries. And the second part is, I mean, if then something happens with the power supply, then it will switch over to battery, so you have a backup. So there's a benefit to that as well. You can, I mentioned ceiling as the optimal place. That is the ideal location for installing the device, but you can install it on the walls as well, and where you like, wherever you like it, wherever you want it to be. So it's entirely possible, but for cigarette smoke, we recommend the ceiling, and preferably where there is people, where you think that people would smoke. So a lot of times it's actually close to a room, or sorry, a window, because people go over to smoke by a window, and they think that that might help, or a balcony for that matter. And then, yeah, the self-install, we mentioned it only takes a couple of minutes, and the maintenance is minimal. All of the updates that we do, any improvements to features that we release throughout the time you have Minute, will be pushed over the air. There are no need for any updates or turning off the device for any reason. If the device should disconnect from Wi-Fi for any reason, if Wi-Fi goes down, it will automatically reconnect to the Wi-Fi, once it's live again. Okay, so I'm going to go into a case study now. That's the last part of this webinar today, and it's about two hotels, a Hampton Inn and a Hilton Tulip tapestry collection. So I'll talk a little bit about that specific implementation that they're using Minute, and seeing what the results are there. But I will answer. There's one question here that I want to answer now. And the question is if hotel chains notify the guests that this device is in the room ahead of time. And that is a really good question. And I would say that most of them do, for the simple reason that you have a higher chance of preventing cigarette smoke in the first place. And that's what we want to do. We don't even want to have someone smoke. I mean, we will detect it if it happens, but the ideal scenario is that you don't, you don't, the guest doesn't smoke in the first place. So actually notifying the guest about the fact that there is a cigarette smoke sensor will help, and you'll probably save a lot of save yourself a lot of trouble by doing that. The easiest example is lavatories in airplanes. Everyone knows that there are cigarette smoke detectors in the lavatories in aircraft. So you don't smoke, you don't try it. It would just be very awkward. So if you do tell them that's a good way to avoid cigarette smoke in the first place. But there is some context you might want to give when you talk to guests about it. For example, the privacy aspect. Like if you mention sensor, you will have guests that will ask about the privacy, or will have privacy concerns. So we've put a lot of the time and effort into creating collateral material that you can share with guests, and we're very used to talking to guests about this type of thing. So if you get in touch with us, we can help you with that communication. But short answer is we recommend that you tell the guests that there is a smoke detector in the room, or a cigarette smoke detector in the room, and a lot of times that will save you a lot of trouble. Great question. So the case study is with a company called 6 p.m. They are based in Michigan, and we have Minutes in two hotels, the Hampton Inn there, and and a Tulip tapestry collection. The way these sensors have been installed in these locations are over Wi-Fi, as I mentioned. That's the way to connect them. They're ceiling mounted, and they're battery operated. So we're not running them plugged in. Instead, what we're doing is we have a feature called sensor swap, which is a really neat feature that allows you to take one sensor that has no battery left, and you take a new sensor that you have charged, that could be charged in the back office or at the front desk, and you take it to the room and you just swap them out. You press the button on both devices, and you can swap them out. So the new sensor assumes the identity of the old sensor, saving all of your historical data, and allowing you to just continue this monitoring service without interruption. And the benefit of that is that you don't have to wait for that specific sensor in that room to charge, because charging takes maybe 3 to 4 hours for a full charge. And then you take the discharge sensor back to the front desk or the back office, and you can charge it there. And then the next thing with it, and you don't have to worry about sensors going all offline at the same time. You'll get notified well ahead of time if there's a sensor that needs charging, and this has worked really well in this case here. So and it makes retrofitting a lot easier, because you don't have to go in and you don't have to do the full wired in solution. So that's a benefit there. And then yeah, so that's the setup. And what they've seen, the ceiling mounted, what they've seen the most success actually is the cigarette smoke detection has been most successful in triggering when the sensor has been near the balcony, because the guests open the balcony door or they go out and the smoke still comes in the room. So that location is good. And we will help you, of course, to determine what the best location in your rooms are. So if we start working together, for example, we will consult you on what we think is the best location for the installation of the device. So the results we've seen so far are really good. We have connected the front desk to the alerts, so they get the notified as soon as something happens. That they then can either go up to the room. Sometimes if it's really if it's clear that there is something going on, they will knock on the door. Sometimes they will wait and they will do it like after the fact and use it as proof if the cigarette smoke yeah, if they need to use it as proof in a chargeback scenario. But if it's very clear that something is going on, they will go in immediately. It depends a little bit on what the circumstances are. Some guests are. It's very clear that something is going on, and noise and occupancy can be triggering at the same time, for example. So staff can take immediate action, and then we also have been generating reports so that they know what has happened in the last month, for example. So they can see like, are there any particular rooms that are vulnerable to noise, for example. They get to know that, and they can also see how many times cigarette smoke has been detected, how many times it happens on average, and we can also compare that to times where the guests have tried to tamper with the devices and then smoke and things like that. The device has a tamper feature, which means that if you do take it down, or if you try to touch it, or if you try to put something over it, it will alert you immediately. And that's actually a really good indicator of someone being, if someone's up to no good, they often try to take sensors down, and that's then you get a notification even before the fact, even before something has happened. And then finally, noise monitoring is not the main reason why hotels buy Minut in the first place, but it becomes a very, very nice thing to have. Because as I mentioned in the beginning, 62% of the complaints are either noise or cigarette smoke. And noise is a big part of that. It's a little bit more difficult to put a number on, because cigarette smoke, you have the fees associated with it, you have cleaning costs. Noise typically will show itself in customer complaints or in guest reviews, and those are not nice. It's not nice to have bad reviews about noise. So we see a lot of hotels come in for cigarette smoke, trying to solve that issue immediately, and then sort of staying and adding noise monitoring as well. And we had just the other day, we had a hotel room where there was a dog that had been left in the hotel room by the owner. The owner was nowhere to be found, and not only were dogs not allowed in the hotel here, but also it was left alone for several hours, which isn't good for the animal. And we picked that up. The front desk got the noise notification, and then they could go to the room, and then they called the guest and sorted that out. So there's a real benefit in having a sensor that not only does cigarette smoke detection, not only does noise, not only does temperature, humidity, or motion, but one sensor that does all of this at the same time. And that is purposely it was built for hospitality and built for your team to use in an efficient to make operations more efficient. So there will be more from this specific case study. I'll post the link as well, and then you read the full study online. And as we go, we'll add more numbers and stuff to this. But yeah, that was the main topics I wanted to talk about today. Yeah, if you have any further questions, I'd be really happy to answer them. You can send me an email at buster.bark@minute.com. You can go in our website. We have a whole section about hotels. If you go under solutions, you can find hotels. And if you want to talk to us directly, don't hesitate to get in touch. And thank you. Really nice to be able to do this. And yeah, there will be more of these. And we will probably, hopefully, talk soon. Thanks a lot, guys. I will end the webinar here, and if you have any questions, you can just email them to me.